In this video, we're going to be learning how to make a palazzo trouser, and this is a straight palazzo trouser. If you have been having issues with your trouser making, whether with the crotch, the length, whatever fitting issues you have with making trousers, this is the right video for you. After watching this video, you can make a beautiful piece that will fit perfectly. All your trousers will now fit perfectly. My name is Eunice. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, please kindly hit on the subscribe button to subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And please ensure to put on your notification bell so you get notified once I post a new video. So let's get right into the video. Thank you.
So these are the measurements we're going to be using to achieve our trouser. First is the trouser length, and that's 41 inches. The waist measurement, 30 inches. The hip measurement is 39 inches. Now the crotch depth. To get the crotch depth, you're going to divide the hip measurement by 4 plus 1. This 1 inch is for ease. So you divide the hip by 4 plus 1, and that's 39 divided by 4 plus 1, and that gave me 10.75. Front crotch extension is the hip divided by 4 plus the hip divided by 20. So I will know that the hip measurement is 39. So we're going to divide 39 by 4 plus 39 divided by 20, and that gave me 11.7. And then I added 1 inch. This 1 inch is for our sewing allowance on both sides, because we sew our trousers with half inch on both sides. So that's plus 1 inch, and that has given me 12.7. So for the back crotch extension, it's also the hip divided by 4 plus the hip divided by 10 this time around. So 39 divided by 4 plus 39 divided by 10, that gave me 13.65. I'm also going to add 1 inch to that measurement, and that gave me 14.65. So I'm just approximating it to 14.75, which is 14 and 3/4. This 1 inch I have here is also for my seam allowance on both sides, which is half inch on the left and then half inch on the right. So I'll go ahead and fold my fabric so that we can draft the front. I folded my fabric for the front, and here this is what determines the amount of fabric I'm folding. Remember that this is our front crotch extension, and the total we have here is 12.7, so which is plus our sewing allowance. So that's why I have 13 inches here, so that's fine. So the width of the fabric for the front, you make sure that you are using your front crotch extension, the total measurement. So the first thing now to do is to draw the starting line, which is the waistline. So here we have our waistline. The next thing I'm going to do now is to come down by the crotch depth. And here I have a crotch depth of 10.75. So that's 10 and 3/4. I'll mark that. And then the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark the length of the trouser. So the length of the trouser is 41 inches. So remember that I said plus 1 inch. This 1 inch is for ease. So here the crotch is hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease. So this 1 inch is for ease. So we're going to be adding this 1 inch to the actual length. If you don't add this 1 inch to the actual length, that means at the end of the day, you're going to be using 40 inches, because this 1 inch is for ease. So this is not part of our measurement. So I'm going to add this 1 inch to my 41. So that will give us a length of 42 inches. I'm going to mark 42 inches plus the hemming allowance of 2 inches. So that will give me a total of 44 inches. So I'll just go ahead and straighten my lines. What we're going to do now is to mark the hip line. So from the crotch line, I'm going to go up by 2 inches. So either 2 inches, 2.5 is fine, but I'm using 2 inches. So I'm going up from the crotch line by 2 inches. That's the crotch depth. So now this is our hip line. So for this trouser, we really do not need our knee line, because this is a palazzo, a straight palazzo that will go all the way down. But let me just go ahead and mark the knee line so that we know where the knee line is. So from the crotch depth here, I'm going to measure from here to the actual full length. So this is the actual full length, not the hemming allowance. So once you have the measurement from the crotch depth to the actual full length, you get the midpoint. And in this case, that's 15 inches. So this is the midpoint, which is 15 inches. I will go up by 2 inches, and this point is the knee line. So it works perfectly. For an average person, you go up by 2 inches. For a tall person, 3 inches. So this is our knee line now. So next we're going to enter our measurements. But before entering the measurement, remember that I added 1 inch to the measurement, that's to the crotch extension. So I'm going to mark ½ inch on this side, and then the other ½ inch will be on this side. So I'm just going to mark my ½ inch here from the folded part. So you can see that I've drawn my line, this ½ inch. I came in by ½ inch from the folded part. So all our measurements are going to start from this line. So here now on the crotch line, I'm going to enter quarter of the hip measurement. And quarter of our hip measurement is 9.75. That's 9 3/4. So I'm marking 9 3/4 here. On the hip line, I'm also going to mark the same quarter of the hip measurement, which is 9 3/4. And then here on the waistline, whatever I have here, I will go in by ½ inch. So I have 9 3/4 here. So if I go in by ½ inch, that will be 9 1/4 inch. This is just so that you slant the line in so that you don't have any gathering around the front, because we are not straight in front. So I'm just going to use my ruler to connect the points. So having done that, now the next thing I'm going to do now, on the crotch line, I'm going to enter the crotch extension. So the crotch extension is the hip divided by 20. So that hip divided by 20 will give me the crotch extension. That's what will now give us the total of our 11.75. So the crotch extension is 1.95. So I'm going to be marking my 1.95 here, not up to 2 inches. So just, but you can approximate it, because 1.9 can be approximated to 2 inches. So I'm going to mark it here on this line. So I'm going to add ½ inch, which is going to be my sewing allowance. So we can just add that right away. Remember that I said that the front crotch extension is 11.7, so plus 1 inch. That 1 inch is for our seam allowance on both sides. So I'm going to add ½ inch now on this side. So I've added my ½ inch on this side. So I'm going to curve this to meet this point, and then to this point like this. So you don't want to make it too curvy. So can you see it has blended into this line? So now the next thing I'm going to do is to enter the waist measurement. So to enter the waist measurement, I'll be taking my measurement from this crotch line, not from this side like I did for this one. So from the crotch line here, I'm going to enter quarter of her waist measurement. And quarter of her waist measurement is 7.5. So these are 7.5. So I'll go ahead and add my sewing allowance. I'll add ½ inch on this side. I'll add ½ inch on this side, which is that plus our 1 inch, and then I'll also add the same ½ inch on this side, just like I have done for this side. So here for this side, for the crotch and the hip, I've not added my ½ inch. So I'll add ½ inch here, ½ inch here. So that's the essence of this line I drew here, so that we can connect to this part. So this is where our measurement starts. So this is our ½ inch for our seam allowance. Remember, I've added to this side. So I'll also repeat the same thing here on the hip line. I'll also add ½ inch. I'm going to connect it like this. So this is my ½ inch for sewing. So I'm going to connect it also like this. So this is the original line I'll be cutting on. That's plus my ½ inch. So I'll come here to this side also and connect from the hip line to the waistline like this. And then at this point, I'm just going to blend it in. So you want to be sure that you don't make this side pointy. So now we'll come to the knee line. But remember that we're making a straight palazzo. This palazzo, whatever I have here at the crotch extension is what I'm going to take all the way down to the hemline. So I'm just going to measure what I have here, which is 12.75. I'll just bring everything here to this point. And I'll also do the same thing at this side, at the hem here. So this palazzo is really simple because it is your crotch measurement, that's the crotch extension measurement, which is as good as the round thigh measurement. That's what you are taking all the way down to the hem of the trouser. To the waistline here, I'll come down by 1 inch. This is to eliminate bulge. This is the waist sloper so that you can eliminate bulge. You don't want the trouser gathering here. So I'm going to come down by 1 inch from the center front, which is the crotch part here. So I'll come down by 1 inch and then slant it to meet this point. It's our front, so we'll go ahead and cut it out. The front pieces looks like. So now we'll place the fabric so that we can cut the back piece. So I've placed my fabric for the back, and this is what we are going to do so that we don't have to go ahead and recalculate for the back again and waste all our time. So this is what we are going to do. The difference between the front and the back is this front crotch extension. The front crotch extension, we did hip divided by 4 plus hip divided by 20, and this hip divided by 20 gave us 1.95. So we added it to the hip divided by 4 measurement, which was 9.75, and it gave us a total of 11.7 plus 1 inch, which is our side sewing allowance, and that's a total of 12. So now for the back is hip divided by the same 4, and that is the same 9.75. So that's 9.75. And then now the hip divided by 10, that's our back crotch extension, and that will give us 3.9. So 3.9. So that's for the back because we are dividing by 10. So remember that the front is hip divided by 20, and that gave us 1.95. So this 1.95, when you multiply it by 2, that will give you this 3.9, because this is 10 and this is 20. Of course, 10 is half of 20. So that means whatever we have here is going to be twice of this. That's twice. This is twice. The 39, 3.9 is twice this measurement that we have here, which is 1.9. So what am I going to do now? Since we have placed our front piece here, I'm only going to go ahead and add the same measurement. So this is actually the hip line. You can see the line here. So all I need to do is to come out here by 3.9, which is what we got here. So this is 3.9. That's our back crotch extension. So 3.9 is what I'm going to mark here. Can you see? So from here to here, this is where my 3.9 is. So automatically, what does that mean? That if I place my tape from away from the half inch that I've added here, it's going to give me 1.95, which is what we have as our crotch extension. So that's times 2. So I'm adding 1.95 here to give us the back crotch extension. So if we are taking the measurement from here, that would be 3.9. So as it is, I have added my back crotch extension on this part. So all I need to do is to come out by the extra half inch, which is going to be my seam allowance for joining the side here. So now at the hip line here, I'm going to mark 2 inches. This is for ease at the hip. Remember that the butt is bigger at the back. So I'll come here and mark 2 inches. But while I'm marking these 2 inches, you can see that this is the actual measurement and this is our sewing allowance. So from this part where we have our actual measurement, that's this one inside, I'm going to mark 2 inches. Here, this is where our front waist measurement stops. Can you see? This is where it stops. I'm going to go in by 1 inch from this side. You want to make sure that you eliminate bulge. You don't want your trouser to gape at the back. So this is where our front measurement stops. You can see I'm going in by 1 inch there. So I'm going to connect this point to this point and then to this point. So I'll use my curved ruler to connect it like this, and then I'll connect to this 1 inch. So I'll blend it in like this. So can you see that our back crotch depth is not straight? It's not like this. It's not slanted like this. It's deeper inside. So this is our starting line here. Remember that we already came back down by 1 inch for the front sloper. So for the back, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches. So this 1.5 inches I'm going up by, half inch will be for joining my band. So I'm going to be left with 1 inch. So I'm going to slant this 1.5 inches this way. That's I'll make it blend into the waistline like this. Can you see that? So if you notice any sharpness here, all you need to do is to just come down with about 1/4 inch so that you eliminate the sharpness there. From here, I'm going to enter quarter of the waist measurement plus my sewing allowance. I need a sewing allowance of half inch at this side and half inch at that side. So that's going to give me a total of 8.5 because her waist is 30. So that's 8.5. So I'm going to mark it. So this is where the waist measurement stops at the back. So can you see? So I'm just going to blend it. So remember that I have added half inch here to the side already for the front. So that means automatically that the half inch for the back too has been added because this is the side seam allowance. So I'm just going to blend it into this line like this. So and I'll blend this line to meet this 8.5 like this. So this measurement I have here, I'm just going to take it down straight. This is how this palazzo is going to be. Oh, I'm not going to narrow anything down. Just take what I have here straight down. So I'm just going to measure what I have here so that I can mark it straight down, which is that 1.95. So I'll just connect it with my straight ruler. Our back piece is ready. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut on this part. So this is our back waistline here. It's not straight. So we'll go ahead and cut the crotch. So these 2 inches I added here is to accommodate the butt. So that accommodating of the butt, remember that I added half inch here. So by the time we take half inch and sew here, we're going to be left with 1.5. So this will give room for the butt so that she can sit comfortably. So this is what our back looks like. So you can see it's longer at the back because we have the butt there. And this is what our front looks like. So you can see the difference here. So now the next thing we're going to do is to cut our pocket. So we're going to separate the back from the front so that we can cut our pockets. So to cut the pocket, here is the side. So here is our crotch, that's the center front. So here is the side where we are going to have the pocket. So from the waistline here, I'm going to come in by 1.5 inches or 2 inches, depending on how curvy you want the pocket to be. So I'm going to come in by 2 inches. I'm going to come in by 2 inches and then I'll come down by 7 inches here like this. And then I'll bring in my armhole curve and just curve it. I want the pocket to be curvy. I'm not going to be making it slanted. So you can either make it slant like this or you curve the pocket. So this pocket is going to be curved. Can you see? So I'm going to cut out this part. So this is where we're going to have our pocket. So I'm going to cut the fabric I'm going to be using for this pocket, and this fabric is going to be 7 inches on fold and then 12 inches in length. So I'll cut it out and show us.
I've cut the fabric for the pocket and I have two pieces. Next thing I'm going to do is to open up this fabric and place them right side facing right side. I had to join my pockets and the fabric because my fabric is already finished. I use 1.5 for this trouser. So I'll advise that if you're going to use it for everything, please use 2 yards to give you that so that your material will be enough. I just used 1.5. That's what I have left here. So I'm going to place the trouser on one side. Since I have opened my fabric, I'll place the front piece of the trouser on one side because I'm going to trace out the pocket shape. And you see this curve of our pocket, I'm going to trace it out on the trouser. That's I'm going to cut it out on the trouser. You want to make sure that you place it very well. This will determine how nice and neatly tailored that side of the pocket will be. So I'm going ahead to cut it out like this, and then I'll also shape the sides. The down part of the pocket, you want to make sure that it fits into the shape of the trouser. Remember that that side is around the hip area, that's the side, okay? So I'm just going to trim out the excess I have there so that it matches up with the shape of the trouser. So you can see that pocket will actually match up at the side. So I haven't done that. I'm also going to bring in the back piece. I'll bring in the back piece of my trouser and place it on the other side of the pocket so that we can trace out the same shape we have here on the side of the back piece. I'll be placing the two pieces of the pocket together, making sure that it's right side facing right side. And then I'll place the trouser over it. That's the back piece of the trouser so that I can trace out the shape we have here. This is because you can see that the waistline is inward. So if you just leave your trouser straight, I'm sorry, if you just leave your pocket straight, it's not going to fit in well. You just notice that the pocket will have some gathering. So you want to trace out the shape so that it matches up with the shape of the trouser. I hope we understand what I'm trying to say. But this is just to give your trouser a perfect fit. So you can see that our pocket is no longer straight. The pocket was a straight fabric I cut, and of course the trouser around the waist to the hip is not straight. So you want to make sure that you trace the shape so that it fits in nicely when you are stitching them together. So right now the next thing I'm going to do is to place the right side of the pocket over the right side of the trouser. So the parts facing each other right now is the pocket area, you can see. So I'm placing the right side of the pocket over the right side of the trouser. I'm doing the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch it on 1/2 inch, and I'll repeat the same thing on the other side and come back and show us.
So I've stitched the pockets and you can see I've ironed it to this side. I also went ahead to top stitch the seam allowance. Can you see the seam allowance of the pocket to the pocket side? And you can see that I notched it because it's a curved area. So you want to notch it so that everything is relaxed. So I went ahead to iron it and I've done the same thing for this side. You can see I notched it and I top stitched the seam allowance to the pocket side, not to the main trouser. So now the next thing we're going to do is this. I'm going to place it this way. Can you see? This is the opening of our pocket. So I'm going to fold the pocket into two like this. So you want to make sure that it comes here. Fold it into two like this. And this is what we have. So you can see that this fabric now, the pocket side, is now covering, that's replacing what we have cut out. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll come down from where the pocket ends here by 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to notch it. 1/2 inch is the seam allowance I added. So you can see I've notched my 1/2 inch. So now I'm going to turn the pocket, wrong side of the pocket facing wrong side like this. And then I'll take this to my sewing machine and sew like this. On this 1/2 inch notch that I have here, I'm going to sew this way. After sewing it, remember that it's wrong side facing wrong side. So I'll now turn it to the right side and top stitch it. I'll do the same thing for the other one and come back and show us. I'm done stitching my pockets, and this is what I have. You can see what it looks like on the wrong side. I top stitch it. This is so that it's neat. So you can decide to weave yours, or you do it like I did. Wrong side facing wrong side, then you sew and then you top stitch on the right side. So this is what I have. So this is the essence of notching this half inch, because this is actually my seam allowance. I do not want the pocket to get to the side seam allowance. So now you can see our pocket is sitting really well. I'll bring in my pressing iron and give it a nice press. So after pressing it, the next thing I'm going to do now is to top stitch this, that's this pocket now, to the waistline. And then when I do that, I'll also top stitch this part. You can see that it's still separate from the other. Can you see? So I'm going to also top stitch this part like this, and then top stitch this side. I'll repeat the same thing for the other side. And then I'll go ahead and join the two front crotch together, and I'll also repeat the same thing for the back. I'll join the two back crotch together also. Can you see? I'm going to join it this way, and then I'll bring in my back piece also, and then I'll join it at the center back, which is the back crotch also, like this, right side facing right side. Can you see? So I'm going to stitch the back crotch also together, and then I'll go ahead and fix my zipper on this half inch, because the zipper is going to be on the side, and then I'll come back and show us the next thing to do. I've stitched the sides of the trouser, and I've also stitched the crotch. I went ahead to fix my invisible zipper by the side here, and this is what it looks like on the right side, and I fixed it on the left side of the trouser. Can you see? So this is what our invisible zipper is. So it's perfectly invisible. So just in case you don't know how to fix an invisible zipper, I'm going to be dropping the link in the description box so that you can watch and learn how to fix an invisible zipper perfectly. So with that being said, I also went ahead to fix and to stitch the inseam. These are inseam and this is the outseam. So I stitched it on half inch all the way from the hem to the center here, and then down to this hem here. So we are almost done with our trouser. The next thing now I'm going to do is to fold the hem of our trouser. Remember I added 2 inches hemming allowance. So I'm going to fold half inch first, and then I'll fold 1.5 this way. So this is what I mean. I'll fold half inch first with my iron. I'll press it down, and then I'll fold my 1.5 inches. So I'll do it round and repeat it on the other side of the trouser, and then take it to my sewing machine to stitch it. And then this is our band. I've cut the band. My band I cut 2.5 inches on fold, and I stitched on half of an inch. You can see I applied paper stay to it, and then I went ahead to fold the hem this way, and this is what we have. This is what we have. So I'm going to be fixing my band like this. So I open the zipper of the trouser and place the band on the wrong side of the trouser like this. This band is going to have an overlap. So the waist measurement of my client is 30 inches, but I made the length of my band more than 30 inches. This is because I'm going to have hook and eye on the side. So you can see this is about 33 inches. So by the time turn the sides of the band with half inch, I'm going to be left with 2 inches that will overlap on each other so that we can hook the trouser by the side. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to place the band now on the wrong side. I'm going to leave 1.5 inches first, and then I'll stitch it using the crease line I have ironed already. I'll stitch it all the way to the other side. Once I'm done with that, I'll now place the band this way and stitch on half inch. So by the time I stitch on half inch, I will now be left with 1 inch. Remember I said we should leave 1.5. And then I'll flip it over like this and top stitch the trouser. So I'll come back and show us the final outcome of the trouser. Okay, so I'm done hemming our trouser, and this is what it looks like on the hem. Can you see how beautiful and neat our trouser is?
Trust me, camera is not doing justice to this trouser. This trouser came out so beautiful. This is what our band looks like on the waistline. Can you see? You can see our side zipper sitting very nicely. Our pockets, everything came out so well. Can you see how I pressed this trouser? I pressed it so beautiful. Everything came out so good in this trouser. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something. If you did, please make sure to like this video, share this video with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.